Tony's Hardware and Garden Stores brings you Garage Logic Podcast number 1024, February 24th, 2023, the one-year anniversary of Putin invading Ukraine. It was 59 degrees on this day in 1880, and 20 below on this day in 1967. And I'm
now,
feeling golfy.
From the mayor's office, above the boathouse, on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic, with Rookie on production, Chris Reavers, director of social media, John Hyde in the newsroom, and occasionally Kenny from the Krabby Coffee Shop. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Souchere.
What word have we chosen for woke? Did turd win the poll? Did turd win the poll?
Oh, I forgot to look.
And we can't use Pharisee.
Why?
I got a very respectful letter from a member of the Jewish community who gave me a history lesson on the use of the word Pharisee.
Told you.
And it apparently has some bad connotations as it might relate to Jewish people, so we're not going to use Pharisee.
I'll
I
buy
did not
that.
know that.
I'll buy
here it is. Can I read this?
I would like to hear because I was very pro Pharisee because it fit.
Joe, I work for the Jewish Community Relations Council of Minnesota and the Dakotas. Our mission is to build relationships and understanding on behalf of the Jewish community. A Jewish listener of your podcast sent us Friday's episode concerned about using Pharisee as a pejorative substitute for woke. As was noted in the discussion, the history of that word includes its use as a slur against Jews. It's a long and complicated history, but our advice is to avoid using that term outside its specific historical context, since it can be interpreted as a negative stereotype against Jews. I know you have issues related to anti-Semitism on your show in the past. Please know JCRC Executive Director Steve Hunigs would gladly be a guest on your show to discuss anti-Semitism, Israel, and other Jewish-related issues. Thank you, Sammy Ramamim, Director of Communications and Community Affairs, Jewish Community Relations Council of Minnesota and the Dakotas. Okay, we won't use Pharisee. See how agreeable we are?
Here's your...
Where are we on the poll question?
Here is the poll results, courtesy of the Garage Logic Twitter account. In fourth place with 20% is turds.
Yep.
In third place was Pharisees with 22%.
Well, we'll scrap that.
Okay.
In second place was delusionists with 28%.
Right.
And your winner, according to the Garage Logic Podcast Twitter account, regressives with 30%.
Well, and Billy Stein, of course, he entered late. He knew he was late, but he had a submission. Zifters. That ain't bad either. Zealot, something I can't find his deal here. So whatever. We're at the golf show, and I'm feeling golfy.
Where's your hat?
I put it in my briefcase.
No, your golfy hat.
I know, I couldn't find it. I have a hat that says feeling golfy, and I like to wear that to the golf show at the Minneapolis Convention Center, where you can win a lot of money in a long putt contest. And there's a gentleman in the audience, I don't know him, but he was saying that you made the putt, sir. You made it on the first try, and that requires you to do what? Well, isn't that unfortunate? You have to come back.
Everybody wins. You got to come back.
There you go.
See. In other words, it was a come on. If you make the putt, you're just put in a pool with other people who make the putt. And then you have a putt off on Sunday, I would imagine. Well, I would like your chances, given that you read that correctly and made it on the first attempt. What is your name, sir? Joe. His name is Joe Pesci. He looks it might be Joe Pesci.
Never know.
The 2023 Choice Bank Minnesota Golf Show is open all weekend long from Hall B inside the convention center where we are. Tickets and more information online at minnesotagolfshow.com. Each ticket purchase includes 14. I hope you guys bought tickets online and got the 14 free rounds. 14 free rounds of golf courtesy of TwinCitiesGolf.com. It's a $500 value and a coupon for $20 off at PGA Tour Superstore. Golf show open tonight until 6 p.m., Saturday until 6 p.m., and Sunday until 3 p.m. So, sir, Joe Pesci, you'll have to come back sometime Sunday between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m.
Well, maybe you could come back and watch him.
He's now
14. You said 14 rounds.
he's now regretting the fact that he made that putt. Yes, 14 free rounds for a $12 ticket.
That gives you 252 holes, and if he bought 3 tickets times 3, he's got 756 holes to look forward to.
You won't mind me going through some things that are pretty germane to what we've been talking about.
Can I address something before you even start, sir?
Yes.
Can we take a Garage Logic Town Council vote that we never get our photos updated ever again? Look at those 5 good-looking guys over there that no longer exist.
Yeah.
Where?
They look young.
Sorry for the false advertising. You're not getting those guys today. They are all dead.
Yeah,
They are all
I'm
dead.
pretty sure
I'm
I'm
actually not even on there.
I'm still in my 20s in that photo.
Yeah, you are, Kenny.
No,
You're
that's-
on there.
There you are.
I don't know
definitely-
who that is.
That's definitely not me.
Right.
Superimposed.
Another
Okay.
thing we need to address, Rook, and I'm glad that you brought that up. You are now in charge of driving Joe and Kenny back to the radio station.
No, you're locked in. Once you do
I
it, you
have
can't go
some
back.
very incriminating evidence on this cell phone of this fella going off. Let's
Yeah.
just say going off.
Even though it's golf season, I have an interesting
on.
note
Okay.
from Thomas Tadlock, who said, just wondering if the below zero records established in the late 1800s had anything to do with the eruption of Krakatoa on August 27, 1883. Reading about it, it was quite the explosion, supposedly the loudest sound ever produced on Mother's Earth at 310 decibels. The force of the blast nearly 10,000 times that of the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima. Over the following 5 days, shock waves from the explosion traveled around the globe 7 times. Would the ash in the atmosphere blocking sunlight have cooled things down for years following that event? And my answer is yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I am a climatologist.
Right. Now, speaking of the weather, you're probably all weary of me yelling at people to get off my lawn when it comes to these overhyped storms. But I have a new way to look at it. Television news, and most principally the Golf Channel, if it might be considered part of the news dynamic, they're ruining the United States.
The Golf Channel?
How so?
Did I say Golf Channel?
No,
I'm
Weather
sorry,
Channel.
the Weather Channel.
Oh, okay.
Weather Channel. They're ruining the United States. They shout catastrophe so long and loud that it almost becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy
Yeah.
that people won't move.
Yeah.
They Weather Channel had a gal in Waukegan, Illinois, on Tuesday night, and I believe she stayed there. And they kept cutting back to her on Tuesday night. I was only watching to see if I could get a flight out of town, and sure enough, it got canceled back to here. But she was standing near the Fox. No, I'm sorry. She was in Green Bay, and she was near the Fox River. And she would walk over to some snow and say, look what happens when I put my foot down. And it made an imprint in the snow.
Imagine that.
And then she said, oh, look at this sidewalk over here. There's no snow on it because the wind blew the snow off. And I don't know how to handle that. I don't know how to contain my my angst when that I'm encountered with that, because it was just horrific. And then the word historic has been tossed around.
Yeah.
There's nothing historic about this.
No, but they sold it to us like it was going to be historic, and they started the week before. And right up until yesterday, right around 8 a.m. or so, they were still saying it was going to be big, and then they started retracting.
It might not make the top 20.
Yeah, but they were closing schools. They were closing restaurants early
The
at 3 in the
governor,
afternoon.
the king, supreme ruler over all of us, declared an emergency,
I
a
know.
peacetime emergency.
I know.
Yesterday?
Out of hand.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
what does that entail? What did that mean?
I think it means run for your lives. We're doomed. You people are not able to handle this kind of weather. Stay in your house, lock the doors, maybe go downstairs, get in an interior room.
But the problem,
Hide.
Kenny, is, and I don't disagree with anything you just said, the problem is we have too many people that don't know how to handle this weather, especially on the roads. My
As
God.
evidenced in this morning's
Oh,
watch.
my God.
Well, I have a dark prophecy. It's very dark. I don't want to do it when we're all feeling so golfy.
Come on down to the golf show.
It's not very golfy yet.
We've hinted around and toyed with some of the stories predicting climate lockdowns, right?
Yep.
I think it's all part of a piece. However, unconsciously it's connected. It will become consciously connected. And I think the day is coming when, and you're not far off the mark calling Walz a ruler as opposed to a dedicated public servant trying to help the public. I think the day is coming when the rulers will determine that in any weather event whatsoever, everything will be shut down.
Everything.
No work, no school,
Joe, they canceled the flights before the storm even
and no
began.
travel. And that'll be for rain, or if
Yeah.
it's too sunny,
Yep.
or it's too foggy, or
Yep.
it's too snowy,
Too
or it's
hot.
too cold, or it's too hot.
Yep.
That plays into their sale of the climate change nonsense.
Absolutely.
And by the way, on the climate change nonsense, I got an email from a fellow in Alaska taking issue with my belief that we shouldn't ban gas-powered yard equipment.
Come on.
He said, I use an electric up here and it works just fine. You're a sanctimonious blowhard. And he said, I bet
not
you're
wrong.
not even worried about your grandchildren suffering the effects of climate change. And my answer is, you're right, I'm not. I'm not worried at all.
Well, no.
That's the least thing I'm worried about that they're going to face.
So-
the least thing.
He's been drinking the Kool-Aid. How
Yeah.
big is his yard?
I don't know. He lives in Alaska. It could be, huge. Hail the flashlight king.
Hail you!
Andrew Roberts writes, I'm just getting caught up, and I listened to the podcast of Feb 15 about the bill to ban gas lawn equipment. I work as a wildland firefighter during the spring, summer, and fall, and this bill would ban the equipment we use. Within the wildland service, we use gas-operated portable Mark III pumps, gas chainsaws, and have small portable pumps mounted to our engines. An electric chainsaw just isn't fast enough to take down trees, and we can't carry enough batteries to get it done. I guess these liberals think that they're not liberals, they're turds. I guess these liberals think these are outlets in the wilderness. There are outlets in the wilderness. This will have a massive impact on firefighter safety as well as to the public. Well, imagine the ramifications of that ban, which will not pass this time, by the way. That was a trial balloon. But imagine the ramifications of it in the future.
Imagine.
Imagine. This fellow, Patrick Dempsey, also responded. I was listening to the Feb 15 podcast, and you discussed the bill to ban the sale of gas-powered lawn equipment. Well, this morning we had a snow squall pass through. This is written, dated Feb 20, Monday. Well, this morning we had a snow squall pass through where I live, and it dropped about an inch of fluffy white snow. I work from home, so when the snow was done, I went out to shovel the snow. After a few shovelfuls, I said to myself, screw this,
I know it's coming.
and grabbed my one-cylinder steel leaf blower. And I
Yes.
started clearing the sidewalk and porch with my beautiful, soon-to-be-banned gas-powered leaf blower. I cleared the sidewalk up to the garage, and when I got to the garage, I thought, you know what? I'm going to fire up the soon-to-be-banned two-cylinder Cub Cadet lawn tractor. So I set down the leaf blower while it continued to idle. Then I jumped on the Cub Cadet and started it up and just let it idle. Then I thought, why not fire up the Kubota? So I climbed on my three-cylinder diesel-powered Kubota farm tractor and fired that up and just let it idle. Then I thought, well, what the hell? I might as well start up the Toro. So I pulled out the one-cylinder Toro snowblower, fired it up, and just let it idle. Then I went back to the Steel that was idling in the driveway and cleared the snow off the truck and the old Buick sitting off to the side and the rest of the driveway with the Steel. When I was done, I set down the Steel and went inside to get the dogs and let them out while all four of my internal combustion engine machines continued idling away. After about 15 more minutes of being outside with the dogs, I decided it was time to shut things down now that all the snow was cleared and the CI implements got some much-needed idle time before the big show predicted this week. Then I posted a tweet on Heather Edelson's Twitter page about all the gas-powered diesel machines I ran today. All the best, Patrick Dempsey in Eder, Minnesota. Heather Edelson was one of the two legislators
Right.
proposing this nonsense.
Too bad
to
he
ban.
didn't burn any tires.
He might have.
The what do we call them? The Environmental Justice Squad.
Yeah, they're out there.
They would have arrested me last Friday. I got to my studio at about 5 a.m. and I meant to run right into town, so I left the truck running to warm
Sure.
up before I go in there. Never did make it to town. Walked out of the studio at 2 p.m.
Still running?
There sat my truck
There we go.
running.
Who was that? That reminds me, the guy, the pilot.
He got on an airplane, right?
Pete left his truck running and then flew to Seattle. And it was still running when he got back. I think you guys know him. Pete Johnson, I think. He's
Weren't they? Weren't people that were working with him placing bets as
Yeah.
to how long the truck
Yeah.
was going to run?
Was it an overnight trip?
I think it was 72 hours. I think it was 72 hours, and he got back. It was
awesome.
running just fine. Just fine.
Nice and warm.
How
Yeah.
did everybody here on this staff weather the Armageddon? Everybody
was the
alive? You're
best.
still
Yeah.
alive? Nobody
it was
lost
all
any
right.
family members?
It was fun. Yeah.
Not even close.
Yeah?
Distance learning's a good time.
The snow, though, Joe, did inspire a guy to write me an email that I thought was cute. And he's really mad at us. He says, "Let it snow. You GLers skip town because you're a wussy. Come on. Driving is an adventure. In winter, we used to load up the Bronco with a case of beer and a tow strap and drive around. Oh, yeah, we also put in a can of Seafoam in the tank." I thought, well, that's kind of mean.
You read that because of the seafoam.
I read that because his sign off is sincerely John in Arizona.
Oh, okay. You know, there's been so much in the news lately about the environmental conditions in East Palestine, Ohio, because of the train derailment. And it develops that Ilhan Omar withdrew her support for East Palestine when she learned it was in Ohio. But she learned it was in Ohio, it
pretty
wasn't
good.
over in the Middle East. We're feeling golfy. And did you all get the note on Angela Davis, the black activist who hates the country and hates white people?
No,
And-
what happened?
Well, she went on that show with that Gates guy to learn about her.
Yeah, I watched this actually.
Yeah. Well, sure, her ancestors came over on the Mayflower.
Oh.
She has some Caucasian in her background. Is that right, John?
Her fourth great grandfather
Yeah.
came over on the Mayflower.
So how is she responding to that?
She responded by shock, and she was surprised, needless to say. And in the background, of course, there was slaves being owned, so
Yeah.
she was upset about that.
Well,
that her family would have had any.
She's just an evil patriarch.
So wait a minute, her ancestors owned slaves?
Yes.
The guy, the fourth great grandfather.
This isn't the same guy that was on, or the gal that was on that radio
No.
show and accused the host
No,
of being
no.
a
Angela
Angela
Davis is
Davis.
a longtime firebrand, probably
You're
before your
thinking
time.
of you're thinking of Ariva Martin.
There we go.
She,
That's who you're
she
thinking
became one of the spokespeople for the Black Panthers. She was
Oh.
accused of selling weapons to people who killed police.
I mean, she was a big time activist.
huge activist.
Yeah. And now she's got the grandfather problem. We're live at the golf show. It's the Choice Bank Minnesota Golf Show, open all weekend inside Hall B at the Minneapolis Convention Center.
Here's a guy that forgot his feeling golf he had at the golf show. Joe Soucheray.
Such, before you jump back into the hot topics, did you notice when we walked in the back door that you noticed a few GL bags?
I did.
And I saw that and I thought, wow, all these people have stopped by the GL booth
Right.
to pick up a bag.
Yeah, they're right over there.
Turns out everybody that comes in the place
Gets one.
a GL bag. So we must be trying to get rid of them.
Right. Here's Rook.
How did you feel when you walked in out of the cold today?
Pretty happy, Rook.
I had a hat on.
Okay, you had a hat on, you were warm. Well, right now, when the weather gets like this, your furnace becomes extremely important. But more importantly than that, who you call
I would agree with
a
that.
working furnace when it's this cold is rather important.
It's
wouldn't
an
you say?
important thing.
It's
Home
key.
run.
I know I'm out on a limb there, but I do want to tell you who you call to work on that furnace is even more important. Now, are you going to trust the music coming back up while you're doing a spot?
No.
You're not going to do
Can't
that.
count on that.
You're going to trust a family that has 4 generations and 100 years of service. That's a long time. Those are a lot of different furnaces, all sorts of different systems that they work on. In fact, they've repaired more than 100,000 home heating systems. That's Ray and Welter Heating. They're online at welterheating.com. And again, 4 generations, 100,000 home heating systems repair, 24/7 on-call service, which is in play today, and they are family run. Now, they work with Mitsubishi and Trane. They've got great equipment that they install, and they also want to remind you, if it's making some funny noises, have you call them and have them tune it up for you. They're really happy to come by. And if you want to tell them that the Rook sent you, that's
God
fine.
almighty. Are you bringing the furnace to them?
Every second that you
to you.
talk, I'm adding time to this. Now, let me give you their phone number, 612-825-6867. There's a lot of these guys that are popping up with funny jingles and all that kind of stuff. Go with somebody tried and true. Ray and Welter Heating online at welterheating.com, 5960.
Look at the millennials in the audience, Such. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 millennials on their phone even as we speak.
Speaking of on your phone, this is I-80 in Wyoming.
Yeah, that doesn't do listeners any good.
Well, no, you were complaining about the lack of snow and how it wasn't really a storm. And
Well, some places get snow. Here's Stein's email. I guess the polling is over for the GL replacement for the word woke. I submitted an entry, but it evidently came up short. I skulked off to the penalty box and felt shame. And here's what I came up with. Zifters, an acronym for Zealots for the Ridiculous. Zealots because they are fanatical about their causes, sometimes resorting to violence, as in Antifa, and ridiculous because, of course, their causes are ridiculous. Regardless of the poll results, I will be calling them Zifters. You are welcome to, if you wish. Now that I see it, Zifter rhymes with grifter. Like the greatest grifter of all time, Al Gore, all the better. That's not bad. Zifters is not
Zifter's
bad.
good, but again, he needs to keep in mind we're lazy,
Yeah.
and we don't want to have to explain it over and over and over again.
So, again, what was number 1 on the poll?
regressives.
The regressives.
Doesn't need explaining.
Well, that and,
regressives.
God love Billy. We do. But the people that email, hey, you know that poll you had 6 months ago? I've
Yeah.
got a suggestion for it.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, the people that listen that are like 3 or 4 weeks behind are listening. Yeah, yeah.
now all GLers are aware that snow shoveling is in play in the city of Minneapolis in terms of it becoming the responsibility of the city government to sidewalk,
could go
do the
wrong?
sidewalk shoveling. And then it's really easy to go from there and just make an additional prediction. It will become racial. I'm looking at a piece from 5 Eyewitness News that I don't know how we missed it. It was back on February 19th of this year.
Okay.
That's a week ago.
5 days ago.
Right. Minnesota, the city's Public Works and Infrastructure Committee is now looking at ways that a city-run sidewalk plowing and snow removal program might work. Currently, you get 24 hours to clear the sidewalks, and then theoretically you might get a fine if you don't. I've yet to see anyone get a fine. The committee approved a study of municipal snow and ice removal programs that could be put into effect by 2027, because it takes a long time, to plan and get ready. The study looked at ways the city could take responsibility for maintaining the sidewalks, and residents would be off the hook for that unpleasant chore. According to the city, since 2016, there have been 23,000 properties with sidewalk complaints, with compliance varying and fees generally impacting minority residents
There we go.
in a disproportionate manner.
Yeah.
All right. Minneapolis wishes to create accessible sidewalks for all citizens, including older residents and those with disabilities. For one, it could make the sidewalks safer for all the runners, and goes on to say, whatever. In 2021, there were 4,500 unshoveled sidewalks. The new directive aims to give more information about the city sidewalks and how to make the city more walkable. And that's all it said about the race question, but we're finding that unshoveled sidewalks impact minority residents disproportionately. Well, what's the GL answer to that?
B as in B, S as in S.
No.
Oh.
Shovel your damn sidewalk.
And what's more likely?
What difference? What does your skin color have to do with shoveling? Just shovel. Who cares?
Are they talking low income minorities?
Not necessarily. It just says, according to the city, there have been more than 23,000 properties with sidewalk complaints,
Is it for the want of a shovel?
or it could be lousy landlords, maybe not taking care of an apartment building. I don't know, but it was fated to become a racial
Do
situation.
you remember how much the program they're floating would cost us on a yearly basis? I
No.
don't remember the figure.
I think 7 billion,
So we
20
take,
billion.
let's take whatever that price is. Say it's $100,000. No, it's not going to be that. $500,000.
Yeah.
Divide it in half. Take that $250. Go down to Walmart. Buy a bunch of shovels.
Go to
hand 'em out.
Fratelloni's.
Or maybe we could have a share a shovel program the way we do with bicycles.
That's the way this will be looked at.
Of
because,
course it will.
Because what's not being looked at in virtually every aspect, the closer you get to the country's tallest buildings, is just even the notion of personal responsibility.
Right.
That's not even in the cards.
Right.
The only thing in the cards is how can we do it, and then we'll be bigger and we'll have more money and we'll do it. And they'll screw it up just like civilians screw
From
it
a
up.
safety standpoint, what's more likely to happen? You get injured on your run because of an unshoveled sidewalk, or option B, where you get mugged making your run in the city of Minneapolis?
Well, I'd say that's 50-50.
Right.
That's
Roll the
even
dice.
money. Yeah.
I got the perfect way to avoid carjacking in the winter if you got a four-wheel drive car. Chances are the carjackers would
Yes.
not know that it's four-wheel drive.
Right.
So you get in it and they come to the door
Right.
and they say, "We want your car."
Yeah.
And
They're-
you say,
they're
"Okay,
polite like that, too."
fine. You can have the damn car, but you're going to have to, why don't you at least push me out to the street? Then I'll get out and you can get in and take it because right now it's stuck."
Right.
So the morons get behind you and start pushing. You just flip it to your four-wheel drive setting and take off.
You realize we had a
I think that's pretty good.
That's pretty
I think
brilliant.
it was last winter we had a case like that. There
Yeah.
was somebody stuck in the freeway. Somebody pulled over to help them out, got them out of the ditch, took their car and drove away.
There was a video, and I don't know what city it took place in, but something very similar to that, Joe.
Yeah.
Guy, I'm going to guess he's in his mid to late 30s, is sitting in the driver's seat. Windows are down. Guy pulls up a gun. He says, okay, you can have it. Just come around to the other side. So the guy goes to the other side. As soon as he got behind the car, the guy took off.
Well, yeah, you have to.
So he had a plan. Everybody's got to have a plan. Welcome to Minneapolis.
In my
Enjoy the
absence-
convention center.
In my absence, I noticed a terrible accident. One of the reasons it was notable is because of its location. Summit and Cretin,
Oh, yeah.
right at the corner where St. Thomas is, St.
Yep.
Thomas
It was
University.
a fatal, was it not?
A fatal. And it was a stolen car. And John, do you know anything
Into the
about
tree?
that? I mean, do you know anything about the record of the driver? It was probably a guy who's stolen 15 cars.
I do not have any details on
All right.
that, only that the car was stolen.
Was that the one where they hit the tree and it burned down? The car burned?
No, it was two cars.
Oh,
that
okay.
ended
You're
up.
thinking of a different car.
But who died? The
was a
driver
stolen
of the
car.
stolen
Right.
car?
I better look.
I think
don't
the
wanna say
driver
for
of the
sure.
stolen car died.
I think you are correct. Yes.
And I hope that's the case, as opposed to the innocent. No, as opposed to the innocent people the idiot hit.
But how fast could they have been going? Because it's
I thi-
25 there, is it not?
It's a very modest speed limit there. Apparently, the guy was speeding through the light. And what the kids at St. Thomas might want to pursue is find out what the guy's record was, and then maybe you want to have a talk with John Choi if, in fact, the guy had been released in St. Paul for a variety of other crimes.
Right.
Because that's hitting pretty close to your campus. That's not even hitting close to your campus. It's hitting in
That's
the middle
on-
of your
that's
campus.
on campus, yeah.
It's on campus where you cross the street, all of you regressives. And you might want to check on that because terrible.
I just got an urchin. One of my last urchin just got into UST.
Let them in, huh?
Yep. Yeah. Despite all my
Say,
shortcomings.
Patrick,
Yes, sir.
I got a question for you. Pat.
Yes, Joe.
I read, I believe you might have tweeted it out that you were.
Johnny, can you turn me up? I can't hear myself.
Sure.
Okay.
Got you, Pat.
I heard that on Wednesday.
Yes.
You noted
Yes.
that you live only about 2 miles from Care 11,
Yeah.
and
Olson Memorial Highway, Joe.
and that you were you took their counsel wisely and stayed home because you thought it was almost deathly to go out, and you noted that you were afraid to go get your ashes for Ash Wednesday.
Yes, which is an annual tradition. We go down to the St. Gabriel to get the ashes put on your forehead, Joe.
Right, and you always did that as a child.
Yes, I did. I never missed an Ash Wednesday.
But now you're going to use the snowstorm as an excuse not to venture out.
Well, no, we just had the DA pound a little heater, and I just used some of those Pall Mall ashes to crisscross applesauce.
Okay, so you figure that'll work then?
Yes, I think my initial tweet was, if this storm lives up to the hype, there figures to be a large supply of ashes left over at the Holy Roman houses of worship tomorrow. That was my actual
And
tweet.
then a day later, you lashed out at Care 11 and all the meteorologists here in the metro.
Yes, I did. I was not going to use my car. I was going to march down there the 2 miles by waddling fat ass down there to go give them a little piece of my mind, tell them to stop scaring us.
Patrick, you should have heard the panic in both the traffic man's voice and mine when we were wondering if Joe was going to make it back, because the traffic man had said, we better get Patrick down here because not one of us bleepers knows how to talk golf. And so we were very worried that you weren't going to be able to make it today.
Yes, although I don't play the game anymore, I can certainly discuss it with you. Say, on a side note, Joe, how did you take the news of a flight cancellation and half a world apart?
I took it very well.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, really, there's nothing you can do. I was very calm.
We don't know that.
But I believe it was canceled as a result of the self-fulfilling prophecy that we were all going to die if we went outside.
Yes, which is very unfortunate. But did you even get a chance to say, let's take a chance, let's vote, let's just get up in the air?
No, in fact, it's interesting, Pat, that you asked me that, because they canceled it at 3 o'clock in the morning. You get a ring on your phone that says, "Don't bother going to the airport. Your flight's canceled."
Well, they did you a service by sending that 3 a.m. email as opposed to driving to the airport and learning at that point.
One more question for you.
Yes, final answer.
Final question would be you believe the churches now have an abundance of unused ashes.
Yeah, what do they?
You think Ash Wednesday could get a do-over?
I do believe the Archbishop has, or the Pope. I don't know who it is. Somebody said somebody with the
Somebody in authority.
Somebody with the Roman collar.
In the ashes department.
Yes, someone in the Catholic Ashes Department has made a decision that they might extend it either next Wednesday or maybe just slap them on you on Sunday when you go to Mass.
All right, that's a very good idea. Why let them go to waste, right?
Yes, sir. I don't think they keep well.
No.
Royce, I have a question. Growing up, I think I'm Presbyterian. I don't know what I am. I'm
Yes,
not
there's
Catholic,
still
but
time for you, Kenny.
What does the ash? What's that mean?
You're returning to earth. You're returning to dust. Ashes to ashes. From dust you came, dust you return.
Dust you shall return. Yes, this is a
Very sobering.
Okay.
Very sobering.
All right.
not sure when it started, but
Where does the wine figure in?
Not sure when it started.
that's when you get home. That's for the DA. That's when you get home. You go to that 5 o'clock ashes. They slap them on your forehead, and
They
it's,
don't slap them on. Pat.
what do they do?
It's a gentle application.
It's a gentle application of ashes that were burned from what? What are they burning? The
I wonder if those are from palms.
Palm Sunday. Yes. Palm Sunday. They
Yeah. Last
take
year's palms.
last year's palms, and they
Recycling.
start a fire, rubbing sticks together, and burn them up.
Royce, I have one more question. I was at
This is
an
about the
event.
third time you said that, Kenny.
We got.
Are you feeling golfy yet?
We've got an hour to kill.
Yes, sir.
Patrick.
No, we don't ever say that.
I was at an event at a Catholic church a couple of weeks ago, a birthday party, and I whispered to one of my people, who's got the vodka? Where's the vodka? Thinking it was, a big secret,
Yes.
and we hide it and do it under
Yeah.
the table. Turns out the vodka was right there on the buffet line, right next to the lemonade.
I saw that picture. Did you tweet that out?
A little shocking to me.
Well, no, those Catholics, they, every once in a while, there's a will, there's a will. When there's a will, there's a way.
Right.
And for many years, I found the way, and then I found the way out in the 80s.
Thank you, Pat.
Yeah, I think
Yes,
we're
sir.
done.
Thank you, Pat.
Hey, you guys have a good time at the golf show.
Yes,
I'm
thank
going
you.
to go waddle.
All right, we're going to take a break and return to the Minneapolis Convention Center.
Hey, where is the...
Feeling golfy.
Hi.
Kenny, how about a liner?
We're at the golf show, Feeling Golfy.
Are you feeling golfy?
Feeling golfy.
The 2023 Choice Bank Minnesota Golf Show open all weekend at the Minneapolis Convention Center.
Excellent. I'm not feeling golfy. You know what I'm feeling? Charitable. I'm feeling charitable. And I've been telling these good folks that listen to the Garage Logic podcast about the Minnesota Masonic Charities. And again, books like the Da Vinci Code and countless programs on the History Channel have made the Masons a little bit of a mystery. Add the secret handshakes, the mystery only intensifies. But they may be a mystery to many people, but they're not a mystery to people in Garage Logic. And they're not a mystery to the people being treated for cancer at the Masonic Cancer Center. They're no mystery to the families of children being cared for at the Masonic Children's Hospital. Catching a theme here? And for more than 100 years, the Masons have cared for our elders at the Masonic Home in Bloomington. It's also no mystery to the young people receiving scholarships from the Minnesota Masonic Charities, as of the largest scholarship program in the state of Minnesota, granting more than $1 million annually to Minnesota students. This year, they're introducing a scholarship program like no other, the Selfless Scholar Program. More on that on their website. Despite the secret handshakes, the Masons have become synonymous with philanthropy to the people of Minnesota. GL welcomes Minnesota Masonic Charities to the Garage Logic family, and we look forward to learning more about this very special organization. Go to mnmasonic.charities.org. 5960.
Say, not only am I feeling golfy, but Tim Bloom from EcoFun Motorsports has brought a Crossfire golf cart to the show. You got to check it out if
thing
you're
is
here.
sweet.
It is really cool. It's more than a golf cart. That rear seat comes down, becomes a bed, like a pickup truck for hauling stuff around. This has got kids written all over it. I'm afraid I'm hooked. When you come to the golf show and you approach the KSTP area for GL and the Purple Podcast, it's right here. And I presume it'll be here all weekend, right?
I was just talking to a young man who looked like he got separated from the group here in the front row,
Right.
and he gave it his approval.
Right. It's a very nice golf cart.
It's kind of interesting how the side-by-sides and golf carts have melded into one similar-looking unit.
just
It
a
looks
real-
like you could catch a little air with that thing.
And that's gas powered. That ain't no EV.
I'd be looking for a road approach
I know.
to see how much air I could.
Here's in his remote golf show newsroom is John Haidt.
Thank you, Joe. This is all brought to you, by the way, the news by Josh Arnold. Before I get to the news, some stuff we've talked about today.
Yeah.
Krakatoa lowered the temp on average around the world 3 degrees
Really?
the next year. So
Really?
you were correct. It had a definite
Yes, it did.
impact on the temp. Also, ashes have been around since Old Testament times.
Really?
Yeah, started with the Mordecai putting on a sackcloth and ashes when he heard the decree of King Ahasuerus of Persia
Oh.
to kill all the Jewish people in the Persian Empire.
John,
Yes, Kenny.
when I ask Matthew, who's taking on the role of Royce, a question,
Yeah.
any question,
Uh-huh.
no matter what that question is,
Yeah.
it's not asked in a serious way.
You know
I
what, though?
don't care what
I'm
the
glad to learn
answer
this,
is.
though, Kenny. I'm sorry you're wrong.
I'm just trying to get more punchline. I'm trying to milk Rook for all he's worth.
I see.
But, John, I'm
You
glad
hit
to
the
know
off
this.
switch. I'm sorry. I'm recharging right now.
As you guys well know, when something is said, I have to look it up and see what really
Right.
happened. I'm sorry.
I appreciate
That's
that.
just the way my mind
Right.
All of that and more available on Twitter at Mr. FYI.
Right.
And I did look up the story about the crash. You asked about the crash in St. Paul.
Yes.
The person who died was a passenger in the stolen vehicle.
Oh, that's a shame.
30-year-old,
huh?
30-year-old woman, Randy Lee Stone. And the fella, I couldn't find anything about his record, but he said they had been living in the stolen Nissan Rogue, and they had been doing lots of methamphetamine and drugs
Right.
that particular day.
Chances are he's been in trouble before.
Okay.
Fighting
yeah.
chance.
Rook just handed me this. I might as well get this on. There's an Amber Alert, missing child, Lakeville, Minnesota, 3 years old. Leon Ramsarin, described as a light-skinned black boy, 3 feet tall, 35 pounds, brown short hair and brown eyes, wearing black sweatpants, black long-sleeve shirt, a black jacket with tan fur on the hood and boots. They don't have a suspect or vehicle description at that time, so that is in the Lakeville area.
Hopefully he just fell asleep downstairs in a nook and cranny. He was
All
not
right.
missing.
In the news, how big was the storm the past 3 days?
How big was
How
it?
big wasn't it?
And was it overblown?
Yes.
In the preparation? That's been an ongoing battle on social media the past 24 hours. Government officials and meteorologists say all our warnings were warranted and may have saved lives. A lot of people disagree. Without the preps, officials say school buses and motorists might have been stranded. Fire trucks might not have been able to get to fires, and residents would be scrambling to dig out vehicles.
Why couldn't fire trucks get to a fire? What does that have to do
Okay,
with
well, hold on. This does raise an interesting point because I did drive to and from the station yesterday, and had it been normal traffic, it would have been an absolute bleep show.
Right.
So, but the fact that we were warned this heavily made it drivable. You know what I'm saying? It was far more manageable because nobody was on the roads yesterday. So
well,
that did help.
That's an awkward way to look at it.
What do you mean?
Well, in other words, because people didn't go out, you could.
No, I'm saying we did avoid disaster because so many people decided to stay home.
Yeah, but you didn't decide to stay home, and what you're doing is praising the fact that the freeway, you're like Jesse Ventura. The only reason he got light rail is because he thought he had the freeway to
No, okay,
himself.
I think you're missing my point.
Why am I being called into this conversation?
Because you took the money because you figured you'd be alone on 94.
Well, it failed.
I know.
You know,
How many times do you ride the light rail there, Governor?
I ain't never been on the train.
John, continue, please.
Joe, I think we had more crashes today than we did yesterday.
Because people are back out.
Yeah.
And that's precisely my point.
Huh?
The,
I know what your point is, but it's
Do what now?
There's a hole in it.
No, there's a hole in the sky where the tree once.
That's
I
right.
thought it was the bucket.
No.
I thought there was a
You
hole
got
in
your,
the roof.
God.
your good gal, Liza. Liza, get on over here and fix this bucket. It's got a hole in it.
You start.
You know, I try, and
So we need to nail Reavers down on this.
I know he doesn't get it.
Where do you stand? Are you with the czar and the king and the
No,
supreme ruler?
I do
Walls?
think we overreacted, but I
Or-
do think had we not.
Were you born and raised in Florida, Texas?
No,
What-
I
what's
guess
your-
what I'm trying to say is a lot of people heeded said warning.
Right,
And
you
stayed home.
didn't,
Well, someone had.
and
to
so
come
you were
in.
happy that they heeded the warning.
What does heat have to do with the warning?
Heed,
Because
not
you're
heat.
born in a barn and he left the barn door open and you're heating the outside.
John Height with the news.
You know why?
and all that.
You know why I brought this story in, don't you? Because I knew all this would happen. So
You know that a governor outranks the mayor.
if you if you would like the
know.
totals,
Shut up.
basically to the north side there were light totals, but to the south side heavier totals. For instance, Apple Valley won the unofficial bragging rights with 20 inches.
BFD.
Prior Lake saw 17.5 inches. And Chanhassen 16.
Governor, live at the golf show.
We're
would this
not talking
qualify
to the governor
as
right
a
now.
Fun Friday.
No.
All right, everybody, it's Fun Friday. Let's lay out all the partiness.
Partiness?
Yeah, I just invented a word,
Not a boy.
you know.
Minneapolis and St.
I
Paul.
like to do some shows like
Okay,
it's a
thank
really
you.
boring Monday, you know. I ain't like the people of Turkey Town. We're in the heart of it right now, Mean Gene. Turkey Town.
Minneapolis and St. Paul are both offering free parking options because of the storm, and city officials say people are taking advantage of it. Both cities opening up several parking ramps for people to use at no cost, which also helps crews with snow removal.
Begging people to come downtown.
Right.
City
But if you
officials-
park there, don't you need a ride back?
Right. How's
That's a good
that work?
point.
I don't-
That's a good point. City officials say hundreds of people did take advantage of the free parking in each city.
Hundreds.
More than 1,250 people in Minneapolis have taken advantage of the free parking option. In St. Paul, more than 750 people took advantage.
I got news for you. You wouldn't have had any problem finding a parking spot in St. Paul.
As our guy Kenny tells us, don't get out of your car if there's an issue in this type of weather. 66-year-old woman from Egan suffered life-threatening injuries during a 4-car pileup just after 8:30 Wednesday morning. The report says 2 cars hit the woman on northbound 77 in Egan. The woman was driving a 2011 Buick LaCrosse north on Highway 77 over 35E when the vehicle and a Nissan Rogue crashed into each other and moved to the left side of the highway. The woman then got out of her car. Well, after that, a Chevrolet Silverado lost control and rear-ended the Buick into the Nissan Rogue. The woman was hit by both cars. A Mazda CX-5 then rear-ended the Silverado. She was taken to Regents Hospital with life-threatening injuries. A passenger in the Chevy Silverado suffered non-life-threatening injuries, was the only other person injured.
She's
in the
alive?
Yeah, I thought she
They
didn't make
treated
it.
that scene like it was a fatal.
Did you see the video of the trooper who just missed getting
Oh, my
wiped
God.
out by the semi?
Yeah.
That was
I did see
amazing.
It was Wyoming, was it not?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
I,
it
I have a
was
knack
Wyoming.
problem. I shouldn't admit this. I have a knack problem.
Yeah.
Rented a car the past few days, and I could not figure out how to put the headlights on the automatic function. There were the icons.
Really?
were-
Oh.
And so it was like the old days. I turned them on at night and had to turn them off.
Like the old days.
I couldn't
Just like
find
Ma and
the-
Pa Kettle.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
So you like when your headlights turn on and off automatically?
Yes.
What the hell has happened
Because
to
you don't have to worry about it. Just put
You've
them on
lost
automatic.
control. Oh, maybe you want the car to drive for you.
No, I don't.
Maybe
I'm
you
not
want
going
it to
that
fill
far.
up with gas.
No, I'm not going that far.
May-
I just like an
Starts with
automatic
Maybe
light
you'd like a
function.
little back rub as you're taking a
That-
nap. As
this
you go
car
down the
had that.
I
It
wouldn't
had,
mind
the,
that.
had the
That'd be
seats
okay
that
for
did
me.
that.
I thought you were a GLer.
I'm admitting a knack fault. I could not find the automatic
No,
setting.
we, as GLers, we should be kind of irritated.
I
at that
admitted it as a knack problem, didn't I?
You
that
did.
should cover
Yes,
it.
you did.
You know, it was nice because my headlights came on while no one else was on the
Wait a
road
minute.
yesterday.
You have made a number of admissions this winter that I find disturbing. Number one, your space management program this winter is just a disaster.
I had that licked yesterday.
What?
Emailed the grandkids, say, get your buddies over there. There'll be something in it for you. And it was all
Free
set.
pie
It
for everybody.
was all set when I got home.
Okay, maybe that's what you should do
That's
from
what
this
I did.
point forward.
Yeah.
One more
Yeah, but
storm-related.
we're letting him off the
story.
hook because honesty doesn't mean you're virtuous.
Yeah.
Just because he's telling
Yeah.
us what's going on.
I didn't claim to be virtuous. I said I couldn't find the light
So
problem
you're saying
thing.
you're not virtuous.
Well,
Right.
No, in a way, honesty would say you're virtuous. I'm a
And
little
as
confused.
GLers, don't we want to always be able to turn on and off the headlights as we wish?
No.
So they don't come on in the tunnel or
That's
a
what I
cloud-
want 'em to
a
do.
cloud comes by and they go on, then they go off, then
Shocking.
they're on.
You're just being shocking.
On Monday, speaking of space management, on Monday, Patrick and I did Monday Night Sports Talk, and he
did?
had much anticipation for said snow event, and he said, "My guy's down in Lonsdale. I got to find a guy who's closer to me." And I said, "Well, Pat, you've been using the same person. Won't you just make his route?" I don't know what route he's waving me off as I'm trying to help him navigate.
I'm
his
sure he
guy.
has a guy that took care of it.
Yep, yes, sir.
John,
Yes, Joe.
go ahead.
Okay. One more winter storm-related story. A photo from Shakopee that went viral caused law enforcement to go to social media and tell people not to do something. You've probably seen this. The photo showed a person on skis
Oh, yeah.
being pulled through an intersection by a car, rope attached to the car.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The Shakopee
Why
police.
don't they like that?
Well, he was on a
The
highway.
police department was not amused, Kenny. They put on social media, we didn't think we'd have to post something like this, but we are. No, but here we are, excuse me. The post placed a red circle with a line through it over the car skier photo and then put a green check mark of a generic photo of skiers on a mountain.
Was he on snow skis or water skis? I believe snow skis.
I think snow skis.
I would do it on water skis.
I'm one of the biggest law enforcement supporters you'll ever meet, but I even have to admit, sometimes they really kill a buzz, don't they? Yeah. They take all the fun right out
In
of it.
grade school, bumper skiing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This would have been the perfect weekend to do that. Grab on a bumper and go.
The
Until you hit a pothole and bust all your teeth in St. Paul. Maybe that's why they don't do it.
Part of life's lessons.
witnesses did say the car, they obeyed the laws. They stopped at a red light. Then,
Use the signal.
then
We're stopping.
Gave the driver the.
What kept the skier from running into the back of the car?
I'm sure he was able to stop himself, Joe. And then when the light
His
turned,
face.
when the light turned green, he gave the thumbs up to the driver, and the
Get
driver
it.
took
Like
off.
you're
Well, these were obeying lawbreakers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shakopee police didn't return calls about the incident, but did reply to one comment online to say the driver was not cited.
Wouldn't it be law-abiding lawbreakers?
Yes. Thanks, Reavers.
You're welcome.
Minnesota's public school enrollment slipped for the third straight year last fall, according to state data released Thursday, but the loss is not as steep as at the height of the pandemic. The state's public schools lost about 500 students overall, including early childhood and pre-kindergarten programs. That's a slide of less than 1% and a similar rate as the year before. The loss was more pronounced in K through 12, where enrollments dropped by about 2,400 students.
The headline in the paper painted it as being optimistic. Public school exodus is slowing.
Yes.
Yeah.
University of Minnesota officials say they'll be requesting about $1 billion, that's with a B,
Yep.
dollars from the state legislature for the first phase of their plan to regain ownership of the healthcare facilities on the Twin Cities campus and build a new hospital. They released that plan this morning. They're expecting hearings on the request at the state
I have a
capitol.
question about that because this is in an effort for the university to make money off said acquisition, correct?
Huh?
Sure, from a hospital.
Sure.
On campus. Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Hey, just
Quit trying to ask intelligent questions.
All right, I'm
it's
sorry.
really
No
further
way
questions,
beneath you.
please.
I'll play the fart button. Hold on.
There you go.
We're out in public, Chris. We don't have to think here.
Okay. Sorry.
Vladimir Zelensky today vowed 2023 will be the year of victory in a defiant message of hope on the first anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. As dawn broke on the somber day and the threat of fresh missile strikes loomed over the country, the Ukrainian president pledged to defeat, in his words, evil Putin. Harvey Weinstein, sentenced Thursday in downtown LA to 16 years in prison for rape and other crimes, with the already incarcerated former producer in attendance at the Clara Shortridge Foltz Criminal Justice Center courtroom. The delayed ruling is in addition to the 23 years of the much-accused Weinstein being sentenced in 2020. So for all intents and purposes, he's in prison the rest of his life.
Do you, on your list of discussion topics, do you really have on there at the top feeling golfy?
Yep.
Huh. Wanted to make sure you mentioned
Really?
that. Got that
Really?
in, huh?
Feeling golfy.
Feeling golfy here at the golf show. Love to play golf. Yeah.
Guys, you know we're playing golf.
How'd you shoot him this week?
Often.
Did you do well?
Yes.
Wow. Congratulations.
I had the wrong size shoes, though.
I bet that looked good.
For
Probably
some
looking good.
reason at the golf show, I always end up wearing new shoes to the golf show.
Why?
For years, I've been wearing the wrong size. And
You need to go to Chet's.
I seem to have
Does that-
straightened that out.
Red Wing.
Does that explain why you walk like you're holding something in, like you're looking for a bathroom?
It probably could, because what it does is tightens up the gate.
Yes,
You know.
Hey now.
Yes.
But now I got the right size shoes on. So
Okay.
So you
put
got
that
that
in your
going for
pipe.
you.
Thanks
It's
for
all-
Put a little
it's all-
spring in your
It's all
step there.
good, yeah. Here's a couple more things for you to worry about, Joe.
I'm not worried about anything.
How about this one? A hybrid of super pigs
Nope.
is
not
running,
worried about it.
running wild in Canada, and they'll be here soon. Very close to us, actually. Originally crossbred to help farmed pigs grow bigger and tolerate cold temps in Canada, a drop in the market about 2 decades ago led some farmers to let their hybrid pigs run free. And now they're running very free, according to Field and Stream. The super pigs are coming south, likely heading to Montana, North Dakota, Minnesota, and Michigan.
These are feral pigs, John?
Yeah, and they're big, too.
Okay.
They're super big.
Big,
Super
big
pigs.
Does hybrid mean they don't run on gas?
I'll tell you what I'm worried about. Putin has threatened to drop a nuke at Yellowstone. Did you see that one?
Huh?
Staff, anyone?
No.
I
What?
didn't see
Putin
that.
has
no.
threatened to blow up Yellowstone. That would unleash the volcano.
That
Plus,
would
that'd be
bad.
the end of the series.
That's right.
Ain't no more.
I don't want. I'm leaving now.
The problem
You
with
can't. You rode with me.
Oh, that's right.
the problem with the super pigs, they're hard to eradicate. They
the
can
pig
s-
story still.
They
huh?
can survive in cold climate. They can survive well.
Good. That's good, John.
Are they good eating,
They
John?
feed on anything. They gobble up tons and tons of goslings.
Pigs will eat anything, won't they, John?
They will. You know how I learned that? I watched Deadwood. They'll eat the dead
You'd
bodies.
think you'd learn it from your rural upbringing, but
I grew up in a city, Joe.
no, it's very rural.
Mandan, North Dakota.
That might as well be in the middle of nowhere.
20,000.
That's
They're
It's
hard to
countryside.
kill. So high-powered 30-30, 243,
I would guess that would,
270.
yeah, I don't take your
Can I
pick.
just use my AR?
Sure. Well, no, I don't think you can do that. I'm sorry. Legally.
For
maybe.
now.
I don't know. Anyway, yeah. And the other thing you should worry about, the father of an 11-year-old girl who died from avian influenza in Cambodia this week has now been diagnosed also with the virus, officials said, stoking concerns about the possibility of the bird flu.
She died, though, John?
The little girl died, and now the dad has it.
The dad caught the virus from the little girl?
That's correct. And 11 more people who had been in close contact with the girl have undergone lab testing for H5N1. Cambodia's Secretary of State Ora Van Dien says the girl's 49-year-old dad is the only one who tested positive. An investigation is ongoing.
The other
Is
day,
there a vaccination for this? Is there a way to prevent?
Not yet.
Well, what we should do is we should rush one onto the market and then force everybody to take the vaccination.
I knew someone was
And then
gonna
if
go
you
there.
don't
Yeah, I'm
decide
not
not,
getting
to
in this
take
one
the
here.
vaccination, maybe those people should be ostracized and fired, and
you know, we didn't. Speaking of diseases and catching things,
Is he doing an ad?
I don't think it's been covered. No, not yet. I don't think it's been covered on Garage Logic that thoroughly, but there was a major disaster this week in the entertainment business.
What was that?
The Bachelor caught COVID-19 after kissing nearly every woman that lived in the house.
fantastic. It's fantastic.
There was a big. The only reason I know this is because there was a big gasp in the living room. I heard the girls were watching.
Oh, you did. It was in the other room.
That's enough. That's
I must have
enough.
been watching The Wild. But
It used to be gonorrhea, syphilis.
the clap,
Now it's
COVID-19.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't flown for a while because I'm making it my life's goal to try to not fly a lot.
Everybody else is flying. Seriously.
how'd it go?
People dress poorly. There were the pig story reminded me of that. People they arrive at the plane as though they had just come from maybe working with pigs, and said, "Oh, the hell with it! I'm just going to fly somewhere." And they get on and they have all these bad clothing on, and it used to be a lot more civil than that.
Yeah.
What I've noticed from some of our Spirit passengers is that they're putting 2 pounds of flesh into 5 pounds of flesh into a 2-pound bag. It's just, you see skin everywhere and stuff that they should not be wearing. We don't have a sophisticated traveler these days, I don't think.
No, it was.
When I fly, I wear a sport coat.
Yeah, I do too. And you know why? Think of the Garage Logic reason. Why do I wear a sport coat no matter where I'm going?
In case you run into Mr. Hubbard.
No,
Nope.
conventional. It is you're engaged in society.
No.
Lack of options.
If you crash, you want to look good.
No. So I have pockets.
Pockets. Okay.
you go. Yeah.
For all your stuff.
What about a hooded
don't-
sweatshirt?
No, I need pockets. I need the
lot of that at the
interior
airport.
pocket, and I need the side pockets, and the whole deal.
But this is all a cultural thing, not just airplanes. Because if you go,
Pockets?
I saw a clip of New York City, 1956,
Oh.
color film of people walking down the street.
No, it ties on.
They all had suits and ties.
How about at a ball game?
All
Yeah,
game.
Super
That
70
was-
Sports shows people at a hockey game all wearing.
That was going to be my next thing. If you watch, because I'm a baseball geek, I have videotape of the '56 World Series, and you see people leaving the stadium through center field. They're all dressed in suits and hats and
Can we
dresses.
nail down the date this started? Because I see it in church too. I see radio station T-shirts, Van Halen T-shirts in church.
When the North Stars arrived here in the fall of '67,
That's when it
you'd
started.
be hard-pressed to find a male in the audience without a suit on.
Yeah.
And Kenny, church-wise, we were not allowed to wear jeans to church.
Oh,
absolutely. No shorts and no jeans.
No.
I think
I
we're
wonder-
a bit off the topic,
I
but I
wonder-
started it, so it's my fault.
The younger generation, I wonder, for instance, you out there, sir, do you own a suit? No, I didn't think so. Okay, just checking.
Doesn't know when
That's why when I travel, I put my family on the plane and I just drive there. That way I got the vehicle to myself.
Has the attire changed for strip clubs? It's all no holds barred?
I don't know. Who are you looking at?
I'm just looking down Heroes Row here.
Heroes Row.
I don't know.
Bizarre footage shows the moment a man brandishing a giant blue sex toy while protesting on the University of Salford campus in Great Britain is tackled to the floor and arrested by police. Officials were called to Salford University's Peel Park campus at 3:40 in the afternoon on Thursday to reports of a man acting aggressively and refusing to leave the library. Video captured by eyewitnesses shows police tackling the man while he shouts and waves the sex toy while on a bench. He was then arrested for breach of the peace and common assault and taken into custody.
I'm just thinking of that KSDP story years ago when the guy hauls out the giant unit.
What I'm thinking of is everybody here except Joe knows who Holly Roberts is, right?
Sure.
Yes.
Producer at My Talk 107.1. Well, she had one of those in the back of her car left over, she says, from an event they did a couple of months ago.
That's right, leave all mine too.
She actually used that to measure the depth of the snow yesterday morning.
That's
The
beautiful.
Wild played tonight again at Toronto.
Shutout last night.
Yep.
Yeah.
Boy, Columbus is bad.
Yep.
That's like
why
three more paragraphs of
flurry.
this story, I guess.
Are you
Joe-
still on the pig
Joe,
story?
Joe doesn't want to hear it, apparently.
Is it the pig
We're
story?
talking
No,
dildos here, Joe.
Oh, the yeah, you can move on.
Ladies and gentlemen in the crowd, you'll know that Joe really doesn't like a story when he'll say to John, I wonder how that made the news.
Yeah.
Plus, we're supposed to be feeling golfy
Yeah.
and talking about golf.
The other thing he says is, boy, this sure is a long story. Isn't
It
it?
is.
After
That's
I've read 2 sentences.
That's a long
So,
story.
Boy, I really don't have much more, Joe.
That's fine. That's you've done enough.
Yes, sir.
That one,
You've done yeoman service.
well,
Do you know how we're?
Backing up to the pay window, Johnny.
Do you know how
We're
we?
getting paid for this?
Everything is got to be a first in this day and age. Got to
Yeah.
be the first lesbian legislator, the first Muslim, or whatever. I have a new first when we come back.
Well, you do.
Yeah, but first,
You want to hear about Hofferman water.
I guess you're going to speak slowly.
Joe, not only am I going to speak slowly,
Here's a chance for you to tell them in person.
I might go on for 3, 4, 5 minutes. 59.60. Hofferman Water is an independent water treatment dealer. I've been a customer for years. You'll be happy if you make the switch. My Connecticut system went in 2015, and it helped the upsale of my house. Did you know that, Joe?
Good.
Think about that.
I would think that would be important.
You've been trying to sell that place in St. Paul for some time.
Ages.
Go with Connecticut and Hofferman Water. Here's their phone number, 952-894-4040. That's 952-894-4040. You can look up their website, too. I have it right here, HoffermanWater.com. You go online, you can see all of their systems, drinking water systems, water softeners, iron, rust, odor filtration systems. They got it all, and you'll be very happy. They've got me a customer for life in me, and they've been servicing Minnesota for over 50 years. They're the best in the business. You won't be disappointed. HoffermanWater.com. Give them a call today. Set up that appointment, and please tell them you heard about them here on the Garage Logic podcast. There we go. Rook, your turn to give us a liner.
He'll always check your gauges if you give him a ride
Oh, God.
to the Minneapolis Convention Center.
Did. He checked
Does it every time.
I have a cultural question.
What do you want to know, Joe?
The CP and another gal were in a store out in California and were terribly excited to have learned that the day previous to them being in the store, Ringo Starr and his entourage were in the same store. And they were acting as though that was big news. We were in a store that Ringo Starr was in the day before.
Pretty big news.
I said, why don't you just tell me that a guy changed his shirt in Montana? They tried to insist that was meaningful. I said, no, if he had been in the store, that would be a big deal. I would admit.
But-
you got to be in a store and you got to say hi to Ringo.
Follow-up
But
question.
you're telling me that the day before you were in this store, Ringo was in it. That's not a big deal.
You know what that tells me? The store is probably pretty high-end and expensive.
Well,
if it
that's a
drew-
different problem.
If it drew the likes of Ringo Starr.
And the
which
CP.
means that visit probably cost you $15,000.
You're getting away from the point. The point is, that's not noteworthy, is it?
May I ask a question?
You
Not
may.
to us, but yeah.
Is that the reason they went to the store?
No, they discovered this once inside there. The
see.
clerk said, "Hey, guess who was here yesterday?" That's not a story.
When I think of Ringo Starr, I don't think of an entourage. I wonder what that band
Yeah,
of
that
brothers
would have been
looked like.
interesting. Yeah.
Well, I'm telling you that it's not a story, and I didn't win that argument, but it's not a story.
Does it bum
It's-
you out that we are your entourage?
No.
You're stuck
I don't
with
think
us?
of it
I
that
think
way.
it does.
Everybody's got to be the first in something. I remember there was a time when I really would have wanted to work for the New York Times when it was a real newspaper. I thought, man, that'd be something. And I even went there on an occasion, and I didn't have any success, for which I'm now grateful. It wouldn't have worked out that well. But they actually reported this. In a first, a woman issues a thunderstorm watch.
Wow.
First, thunderstorm watch. The National Weather Service has issued thunderstorm and tornado watches for decades, but one had never been sent by a woman until
That
2 days
was the
ago.
first? Come on.
I'm not making it up.
Well, I was going to say, had that not been pointed out, would you guys have ever guessed that? Because I wouldn't have.
No.
For Elizabeth Leitman, who has worked at the Norman, Oklahoma Weather Center since 2010, it would be the day she would issue her first thunderstorm watch.
How could that be possible?
She would also become the first woman ever to do so in the 70-year history of the center and its previous iterations, according to center officials. This is what the New York Times is reporting. They found that this was newsworthy. I can't understand it. I have no further comment. I just wanted to share with you that the whole notion of having to be first has become this watered down, that you're the first to issue a thunderstorm warning.
Did you see the news from Kansas, where evidently there's now a bill that is being introduced to define a man and a woman?
I did not see that.
And the definition of a man is if you've got the parts, you're a man. If you've got those girl parts, you're a girl.
That's it?
And it's a big, big uproar with the trans community. So it should be interesting to watch that in the upcoming months.
I was chuckling because Rookie went total sidekick in a can during your reading of the story there.
I'm speechless.
Senator, we have a state senator named Omar Fateh
Got to do something.
Yeah,
about
we
it.
in Minnesota.
We sure do.
And on the Senate floor, during a debate over giving driver's licenses to illegal immigrants, he called opponents white supremacists and terrorists. Mm-hmm. Well, I think
That's
that's
where we're
a bit strong, isn't it?
That's where we're
and
at.
When we get back to the studio, obviously it would have to be Monday. Maybe we can play you the audio of that apparently was quite something, that he thought the Republicans opposed to giving driver's license to illegal immigrants made them, in his mind, terrorists and white supremacists.
His Republican colleagues. Yeah.
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 Because I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Kenny, because I think you saw the same clip I did. People were pointing out that this might end up making Minnesota a destination point for someone to seek getting an ID, basically.
Right. Yep.
But if you have that viewpoint, you're a white supremacist, according to Mr. Fateh.
Omar Fateh is a state senator. And I don't know how we're served. A, I don't know how we're served by giving illegal immigrants driver's licenses. And B, I don't know how we're served if you find your opponents so irreputable, you're calling them terrorists and white supremacists. How is the public of this state served by these kind of people? The answer is they're not.
We're not.
More-
We're
more-
not served. We're
okay.
not served well at all.
But more importantly, if you and I go to get our driver's licenses,
Yes, sir.
they're asking for all sorts of different IDs, all sorts of different this and that. How can they, if they don't have that paperwork in order, achieve getting a driver's license?
Well, they need those votes, so you got to get them the license.
So we are not being served. We're being ruled.
We're being ruled.
We're being ruled.
Yeah. You saw that during the snowstorm.
Yep.
A Democrat, South Dakota. I wasn't going to bring this up because we're feeling golfy.
Kind of bringing us down.
But I'm tired of carrying this story around, so I'm going to get
You're
it
really
over
killing
with.
the fun Friday buzz.
Well, we're feeling golfy. I'm looking at all sorts of interesting booths for golf resorts. There's equipment here and golf shoes. You can take a chance to win a putter. There's the neat golf cart from EcoFun Motorsports. There's clubs and lessons, and there's a
Beer.
little beer garden over here. It's an enjoyable way to forget the winter storm we just all survived. It's an enjoyable way. So we're feeling golfy.
Yes.
But with that in mind, I'm tired of carrying this story around, but I think it needs to be broadcast. A Democrat, because she's from South Dakota. I guess that's what surprised me.
I didn't know they had them.
A Democrat South Dakota Congresswoman, Erin Healy, took to Twitter this week to criticize the Family Heritage Alliance, calling the group extremist, right? She's calling the group extremist for promoting the idea that a child benefits from the support of a mom and dad who are married.
Up is down, in is out, black is white.
South Dakota.
It's a backwards world.
How did she get elected in South Dakota?
Well, what the hell is she even talking about? What an ignorant dumbass.
Extremist group Family Heritage Alliance said this morning that the safest place for kids are in families that have a married mom and dad, Healy tweeted. What a dangerous and un-American belief.
Wow. Wow.
Really? What else does this say? I should know. I've been carrying it around for a week.
This was published on February 14th.
The Family Heritage Alliance works with like-minded churches and organizations to help South Dakota become a state where God is honored, religious freedom flourishes, families thrive, and life is valued, according to its website. And apparently you're supposed to find that disagreeable. The marriage of a man and a woman and their ability to raise their children is a foundation to the strength of a nation, the group states on its website regarding marriage and family. We believe that strengthening our families, defending parental rights, and defending a natural definition of marriage are critical to achieving a strong and healthy nation. Who would disagree with that?
Well, obviously,
Well,
the
obviously
Democrats.
the turds
Yeah.
and the regressives.
Oh, well, you've been saying that for years about the people in Minneapolis. They hate families.
Yeah.
And according to this person, you're allowed to have your own thoughts unless it disagrees with what my thoughts are.
Right.
Healy, this turd, Healy focuses on legislation that will improve conditions in South Dakota for families and children and is especially interested in work surrounding early education, women's health care, and child advocacy. She also outlines her objectives and goals for healthy families, education, and economy among her constituency, but her platform does not specifically mention marriage or her familial values. Her tweet sparked backlash, which prompted Healy to limit who could reply to her tweet, but Republicans and conservative commentators quote tweeted their outrage responses instead. Okay, why would it just be a conservative? That always irritates me. Why would a conservative find fault with that ideology? I know many liberals who would find fault with that ideology. Staff, anyone?
Not feeling
Thank
it.
you. Thank
Yeah,
you for
not
your
feeling it on
participation.
this one. Just going to
talking
pass
to me?
this one over.
What are we going to do?
Are we on?
Yeah. Functional nuclear families are now dangerous and un-American. Executive editor of the Common Sense Society, Christopher Bedford, tweeted, Aaron doesn't realize that comments like this can cause candidates to lose unexpectedly. Okay, whatever.
These
There,
people-
I don't have to
no.
I can stop carrying this around
these people
now.
really need to rethink the path that they're on right now. Otherwise, it's going to turn over.
You're on a good limb there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's turn it around. Let's back up the train a couple miles on the track and give her a new push.
John, I printed it, but
Yes.
I'm not seeing it, and we can't end the show without this day in history. Could you call it up, please?
I will do that for you.
Because
yes.
the traveling Lyman's
I'm going to guess you left it on the printer back at the station.
at Marloth Park in Mpumalanga, South Africa.
Happen on this day.
Today's
Only because they come to us all the way
February 24th.
from the traveling Lyman's. February 12th. I think there's only 2 today,
There's only
John.
2. You are correct.
I wish you'd read them
Really?
for us. Yes.
All right. In 1858.
1858. That's the year we became a state.
That rhymes.
And it's the year Minnesota is nicknamed the Gopher State.
Oh, boy.
The legislature had guaranteed a $5 million loan to railroad interests, and a cartoon showing a railroad car of corrupt men being pulled by 9 striped rodents with human heads
Huh.
is printed on this date.
I remember that.
Do you?
Well, not from 1858,
I
but
see.
I.
Did they have a big pole like they did with the snowplows and stuff?
No,
What do
they
you
didn't.
Okay.
They didn't. The Gopher State.
Gopher.
In other words, the Gopher State has its nickname originating in financial corruption.
That's correct, Joe.
All right.
Yep. In 1925,
1925,
Minnesota.
Feb 24.
Feb 24.
Oh, sorry, I didn't let
Well,
you say
you
that.
have to know how the bit goes.
We're
but
feeling
Reavers
golfy.
is not paying any attention.
Oh, yes.
Golfy.
1925, Minnesota loses to Canada 2.5 acres of water area from the northwest angle.
Oh, boy.
That's that little northwestern point, Lake of the
Sure,
Woods
that
there.
finger that
Yep.
sticks up there.
Yeah. When the United States and the Dominion of Canada sign an agreement that more accurately defines the international boundary between the two countries that was established by the Webster-Ashburton Treaty of 1842.
Having
boy.
recently returned from that part of the state,
Sure.
I can say that we could have given them a little more.
Yeah, there's a lot up there, isn't there?
Wow.
There's a lot of water up there.
It is desolate.
Well, and speaking of anniversaries, wasn't yesterday the day that we didn't get any snow, according to you? Wasn't that the anniversary of the Miracle on Ice? Or was that 2 days ago?
I think it's today.
No, I believe it was yesterday.
Wasn't it yesterday?
I thought it was today.
Or Wednesday. It's
But
this
it's-
week, anyway.
it's
Well,
not
if
much
only
of
we
a-
had somebody there that covered the game.
I know, but we covered this well. We had Robbie McClanahan on last year, the year before. We went through it all. This would be an off anniversary, like the 20th or the 43rd or something. You know,
Yeah.
it wasn't a.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
we must have done the 40th. I bet we did the 40th
think we
with
did.
McClanahan.
Yes.
Yesterday,
Yesterday?
Yesterday.
in 1983.
Was that the gold
1980.
medal victory or the victory
That-
over the commies?
That
1980.
was the gold medal. Wait, I'm confused.
1980, Joe.
No, so-
Are you doing the Colombian?
Yeah, I got the wrong thing.
Are you
Never
doing
mind.
the Colombian
Gold
hockey?
medal was over the Finns.
You're going to get your money back.
You
ladies
had to
and
beat
gentlemen,
the
don't worry.
commies to get to the gold medal game.
Yeah, this was a different thing altogether.
Now, do you believe in the Al Michaels game? Do you believe in miracles? Was
Glad-
that the gold medal game
No.
or the commie game?
They
was
beat
the
the
Russians.
commies.
That was the commie game
was
that
the-
got them into the final.
Yeah.
Then they beat
there
the
we go.
Finns.
February 22nd, 1980
Thank
was
you,
what
staff.
it was.
What about we'll see you tomorrow night?
That was
That's-
game 6
that's
of
baseball.
the 87 or 91 World
91.
Series.
91.
91 World Series.
What was this one? And the Vikings lose a Super Bowl again.
That could have
Which
been one
one?
of many. Yeah.
That could have been any year. All right, thank you.
Speaking
And,
of town ball,
well, no, we're going to talk about golf because we're really feeling golfy.
Feeling golfy.
And with the 2023 Choice Bank Minnesota Golf Show is open all weekend long at the Minneapolis Convention Center inside Hall B. Tickets and information are online at minnesotagolfshow.com. You'd be crazy not to get your ticket online because you get 14 free rounds of golf courtesy of the TwinCitiesGolf.com at that ticket purchase.
Yep.
That's a value of nearly $500, and you also get a coupon for $20 off at the PGA Tour Superstore. The golf show runs through 6 p.m. tonight, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturday, and 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Sunday, when apparently the successful putters in the $100,000 putt challenge have to come back. See, you've got people out there now making those putts, but they're not walking away with the moolah. They got to come back Sunday
For
and
a
get
putt
into
off.
They got to get into a putt off with the
Excuse
other
me?
successful candidates.
That's right.
Yeah. So I might go take a crack at it. All right, am I eligible?
Sure.
All right. Then
You're
I'd
not
have to
gonna
come.
make it,
I'd
but
have
yeah,
to
you're
come back
eligible.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't. You might be surprised. I'm a pretty good putter.
Are you a steady hand?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Why
Thank
not give
you.
it a shot, huh?
Thank you.
Thank you for
GLers.
feeling golfy, and see you down at the Minnesota Choice Bank Golf Show, Minneapolis Convention Center.
While you're down there, on your smartphone, poking around for other podcasts out there, check out PodMN on your smartphone. Go to GarageLogic.com. As I told a couple people at the airport today, yes, we're still doing the podcast. Go to GarageLogic.com.
What station are you on?
Right. They don't understand
Isn't
that
there
concept.
there's a brand new podcast.
I wish you guys were still on
Was
the
there?
air.
I'm not even. I hear that a lot today.
pretty big deal from what I hear.
Oh, we're working to. You can find that at PodMN on your smartphone. Do sign up on the Garage Logic Town Council. That's at garagelogic.com. The online store, you can see some of the Garage Logic garb being
Can I have
worn
this?
today. And YouTube. Subscribe to Garage Logic on YouTube. Some of the videos you see will be amazing. Do we have amazing videos?
Yeah.
Amazing.
My vacation videos are amazing
They
on
are.
the YouTube Garage Logic
They
page.
are.
Check them out.
What I remember of them, anyway.
1, 2, 3.